President Zelensky rejects key clause in U.S. proposed peace deal.
Sweden hands over historic Reunification Day documentary to Vietnam.
Nagi and seafood becomes bustling as the holiday approaches.
You are watching today's news on NTV. My name is Nguyễn Thị and I will be your guide through today's latest update. President Volodymyr Zelensky rejected suggestions Ukraine give up Crimea to Russia, as U.S. President Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff met Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Moscow, where the Kremlin said they discussed the possibility of direct ceasefire talks.
With the fear that U.S. President Donald Trump forced Ukraine to cede Crimea, a strategic Black Sea peninsula seized by Russia in 2014, President Zelensky insisted the territory is the property of the Ukrainian people. Speaking to reporters in Kyiv, President Zelensky said that the Constitution of Ukraine says that all the temporarily occupied territories belong to Ukraine. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov said Mr. Witkoff and President Putin had held a constructive conversation, including a discussion on the possibility of renewing direct negotiations between representatives of the Russian Federation and Ukraine. The United States has not revealed details of its peace plan, but has suggested freezing the front line and accepting Russian control of Crimea in exchange for peace.
Indian and Pakistani troops exchanged gunfire for a second straight day as ties plummeted between the two nuclear-armed neighbors after an attack on tourists blamed on Pakistani militants killed 26 in India's Kashmir region.
India said its troops responded to unprovoked arms fire from multiple Pakistan army posts that started around midnight on April 25 along the 740-kilometer-long border separating the Indian and Pakistani areas of Kashmir. No casualties were reported. Kashmir's police have identified 3 suspects, including 2 Pakistani nationals, who carried out the April 22 attack. Pakistan has denied any involvement and its defense minister has said an international investigation was needed into the attack. After the attack, India and Pakistan unleashed a raft of measures against each other, with Pakistan closing its airspace to Indian airlines, and India suspending the 1960 Indus Waters Treaty.
As Vietnam commemorates the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and national reunification, April 13, 1975 to 2025, the Embassy of Sweden in Vietnam, in collaboration with the Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism, have officially handed over the documentary Victory Vietnam to the Vietnamese Film Archive.
Directed by Swedish filmmaker Bo Åhlén, the documentary honors the historic events of April 30, 1975, serving as both a moving testament to Sweden's support for Vietnam and a valuable historical record that reflects the global spirit of peace and independence. The film showcases Swedish people celebrating Vietnam's victory, singing songs of peace, raising banners in support of the National Liberation Front, and expressing deep solidarity with the Vietnamese people. The handover ceremony was attended by officials, historians, cultural leaders, and media representatives. Filmmaker Bo Åhlén joined the event virtually, sharing his reflections on this significant occasion.
Coming up next are some updated news.
To address the increasingly urgent housing needs of workers, Nghệ An province is implementing a large-scale social housing development project. Over the next 5 years, tens of thousands of apartments will be built. Notably, workers in industrial parks will be prioritized with over 19,000 social apartments. This is a significant effort to ensure social security and stabilize the local workforce. Currently, the province is focusing on finalizing the legal framework, accelerating land handover and construction permitting, and selecting investors. Eligible projects will be considered for access to the preferential capital source of 120 trillion Vietnamese dongs under the central government's support program.
133 bus routes operating in Ho Chi Minh City and interprovincial routes will offer free tickets for passengers on April 30th to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and national reunification. The information was announced by Mr. Pham Vong Bao, Deputy Director of the Public Transport Management Center, Ho Chi Minh City Department of Transport and Public Works, on the afternoon of April 25th. This activity is to show gratitude to passengers and facilitate people to travel and participate in programs organized by the city during the holiday. Because many central roads prohibit other types of vehicles according to time frames.
Dr. Tranto Sang is the only Vietnamese in the top 10 young scientists in the field of chemistry this year voted by the Australian Academy of Science. Dr. Tranto Sang, 33 years old, currently works at the Queensland Quantum and Advanced Technology Research Institute, QUATRI, Griffith University, Australia. With this award, Dr. Sang will be fully sponsored to attend the Lindau Nobel Laureate meetings, which will take place from June 29th to July 4th in Germany. The event will bring together more than 30 Nobel laureates and 630 young scientists from 84 countries around the world.
Before the April 13 and May 1st holiday, the seafood market in Nghệ An is becoming more and more bustling. At this time, businesses have prepared an abundant supply of goods in large quantity to meet market demand during the holiday period.
These days, seafood processing facilities in Queen Lap Commune, Hoang Mai Town, have to mobilize more workers to process and freeze various types of seafood to serve the holiday. Although prices have slightly increased, processing facilities are still importing goods in quantities 2 to 3 times higher than usual.
The holidays are approaching, so I need to freeze seafood to serve tourists. The seafood is purchased directly from the boats and immediately processed, so the ingredients are very fresh.
For about the past 2 weeks, the prices of fresh seafood have increased by 10 to 15%. However, according to seafood suppliers, compared to previous years, seafood prices this year are considered more stable, especially for frozen seafood, because the suppliers have prepared early.
We've made preparations in advance, so when tourists come here, we have enough seafood. The best-selling items are mantis shrimp and squid.
This year, the holiday lasts for 5 days, so a sharp increase in tourists and consumption is anticipated. Many establishments have processed a variety of products such as dried seafood and vacuum-packed frozen seafood with different price points to offer customers more choices. For the past 2 years, small traders have had enough raw materials to meet demand because seafood harvesting has been more prosperous than in previous years. Here, the majority of small traders purchase goods directly from local fishermen. Currently, the prices of various seafood fluctuate daily, depending on the abundance of the catch. However, generally, prices near holidays are higher than usual, which is a typical market trend.
It's time to say goodbye. Thanks for your watching and see you next time.